What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Before I get into this video, I want to thank Mike DeLeon for granting me this interview. He was cool as shit, didn't hesitate, said hell yeah. And if you watch the guy's expressions and you really watch him, you can see the passion he has for what he does. The dude's a fucking animal on the guitar, and I can't say enough about him. So without further ado, Mike DeLeon.
Oh man, totally opposite. I was such a glam metal fan growing up. I was all about, dude, for real. Favorite band was Poison. I was all about it. Like I even told Philip that I was like, dude, it's all about Poison and CC DeVille, and he just laughs at me. He's like, get out of here. He laughs at me about it. But growing up, for me, it was all about Poison. I was a huge Van Halen fan, Eddie Van Halen. Aerosmith, just all those bands, Motley Crue. My dad was taking me to concerts when I was a real young kid, like real young. We were going to all the shows, all the arena shows growing up, so I got to see all those bands back in the heyday, and that's what it was for me. I just saw that, and I wanted to do it. And then just little by little growing, getting more into the heavier side, Slayer, and then, Metallica, fucking Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, and just going from there, man, just getting into the heavier stuff. And that's my background. I've been in the Texas death metal scene for about 15 solid years now, doing my thing, playing the Texas circuit, and just doing the best I can with that, and making a pretty good name for for these bands that we've been jamming in, and to be doing the illegals with what Philip is doing, it's right up my alley, man. It's super extreme and super brutal, and that's what I love. And I told him that I was like, man, I'm stoked to be jamming in these tunes, man, because we ain't fucking around. We're bringing it in this with this new album, man. Yeah, there's tons of them, man. I can go hard on the scene back, in the early 2000s, especially when I was, starting it, right out of high school. Let's see, there was a band out of Houston, a one-man band, bringing it, named Insidious Decrepancy. It's the name of the group. It's a one-man band. Man, that was hugest impact on me, especially when I got to meet the guy. That was a big influence on me in the Texas death metal scene. Insidious Decrepancy, you got a band out of Austin named Images of Violence. Main dude in that band is John Zig, does a bunch of tattoo work, bunch of artwork for a lot of bands. Band out of San Antonio called Eviscerated, really huge band I was really a fan of. Man, there's so many good bands. Band out of the San Marcos area where I'm from called Vex, VEX, who are still doing some real good stuff here in the local scene, still making a name for themselves. So yeah, there's music piling all over the place. So many good bands. Down in the valley, real quick, I want to mention my friends in like Severance and like Blast Perversion, bringing it from South Texas, man. So yeah, it's been thriving, and it went through a good heyday where it did really good, and it kind of died down, and right now all the bands seem to be doing it. Bands are still putting out, the local bands are still putting out albums and still bringing it, for the brutal scene, man. So it's still going pretty strong. All right, one metal CD. That's probably pretty easy for me. That would probably be Slayer's Rain in Blood.
Dude, that's not a bad choice at all, man.
25 or 27 minutes, it gets right to the point, and you can just jam it over and over and over again, and you don't get tired of it, man. So I'll go with the Rain in Blood because it's a classic, and it's metal as fuck. Man, I love it down here. Where I stay at is right between, I'm in a little city right between Austin and San Antonio. So fortunately, man, all the metal shows either hit one of the two cities, either Austin and or San Antonio, and sometimes both. And just seeing all the tours, roll through, I try to make it to everything. All the fucking death metal shows and metal shows. I try to make it to as much as I can at least. And it's awesome, man. There's so much good stuff. There's so many good bands, so much talent, and and in the NOLA scene, so many good bands, so much talent, and everybody knows everybody, and everybody helps everybody out, and we're all just trying to make original fucking music, man, and just try to do it the best we all can in our own ways, man. That's what it's about down here, man. It's pretty amazing, man. It's a pretty amazing feeling, and to be a part of it now with the illegals, fuck, super super stoked, man. I was in a band called MOD with a guy named Billy Milano who used to sing for a band called SOD, and we did a festival over in Germany with the Illegals. It was our first night of the tour, and we just so happened to run into the Illegals that night, and I got to hang out with Steve for a while, and I had no idea they were looking for a guitar player. At the time, it was never even brought up, but we ended up hanging out, smoked a joint, fucking caught up on some Texas, some friendship and stuff, man. It was good to see Blue out there, and we're all Texas homies out here, and so we were in Germany,
Yeah.
and you know I was playing with MOD that night, playing some warming up, playing some death metal because I come from a real death metal background, and they just so happened to be watching us side stage while we were warming up before our gig, and a few months later, I got the phone call from Steven saying, "Hey man, we're looking for a new guitar player," and you know they remembered me playing some death metal licks when I was
Nice.
warming up on the guitar, and they asked me if I was interested. And at that time, I was really busy with MOD. We were getting ready to write an album, so but when you get a phone call like that, you drop everything you're doing,
Hell
to
yeah.
to jump on that. So I remember immediately telling them that I was definitely interested, and that that I wanted to jam, and then I remember I worked merch for a few days for Pig Destroyer when they were out in Texas. I had worked merch for them for a few days. We ended out in Houston, and Pig Destroyer went out to Louisiana, and I stayed behind. And we did like a secret practice over at a secret jam sesh over at Steve O's, man, with Blue and with Steve and a couple of other guys, man, and it was pretty awesome, man. It was our first jam, and kind of like getting my feet wet with some of the illegal action, man. So it was pretty cool. And then from then it's been on, man. It hasn't stopped. We've been jamming ever since. Yeah, it was pretty wild. Like they say, I was scouted out, man, and I honestly had no idea. I was just doing my thing, just playing some stuff that like I said, I come from a total Texas death metal background, so it was cool. It just so happened to be, we at the right place at the right time, they say, man. So it was awesome, and just fucking having a blast with it, especially with these new songs, man. Oh, most definitely. I probably would have been a little bit more of a train wreck, and I
Yeah,
know they
dude.
were keeping their eyes on me, man. But I mean, it was real cool. Everything went as was, and in May, my band MOD that I was in, we ended up parting ways, and we ended up just going our separate ways. And when that happened, it was kind of a letdown. I was really bummed out at the time. I had put a lot of work into that band, and so I was really bummed out. And then like literally 2 weeks later is when I got the phone call from Philip. Actually it was an email from Philip saying, "Hey man, everything happens for a reason, and I need a guitar player, and come jam, man." So it just you know, that was it. That was it, man. Well, I had practiced with Steven and Blue a few times prior to jamming with Phil and the whole group. So when I jammed with them prior, I was learning all the first album, Walk Through Exits Only. And I remember when that came out, I was always into it. I thought it was real cool. I got to see them perform at the Housecore Horror Fest year one. And I was like watching it from a fan's point of view, thinking, man, it was fucking awesome. I'm really
Yeah, it's
into it.
crazy.
So at first I was already learning those songs, kind of coming into it, thinking, we're gonna go right into the first album. He's gonna want me to do that, but it was the totally opposite of that. It was like brand new stuff right away, like just new tunes, like not even working on the first stuff. It was like the first stuff we did later on, but like right away started working on the new tunes day one, man. And I mean, showing me everything, fuck. By the end of that, too, I was there a day and a half. We left Sunday morning, so Friday afternoon, all day Saturday. I think I learned 6 songs, and I remember I left there. My mind was just a jumble of notes and just blast beats and riffing, man. So it was right to business, man. It was right to business. Learned 6 brand new illegals tunes right off the bat, and it was on, man.
Uh,
Phil and Steven were the guys sitting there. Philip was sitting there with me the whole time, and he had his guitar, I had my guitar, and he was showing me the riffs, man. He was showing me the riffs right there, and we were learning them and going over them. They already had written some of these tunes, a year before this, so it was a good refresher for everybody, and he was showing me everything, man. And fuck, these tunes are so wicked, man.
dude, I can't
Everyone,
wait to hear it, man.
everyone's gonna trip, man. Trip out. Okay, dude. I remember it was a Wednesday night, and I got the phone call from Blue, and he's like, "Mike, he was hanging out with all the Super Joints. Super Joint was at the Layer, and he's like, Mike, we're talking about you over here. Want to see if you can come out this weekend and come jam." And I mean, it was a Wednesday night. I still had to work Thursday and Friday, and I remember, I told him, "Give me a minute. Let me see what's up." Called my boss, and I was like, man, I got this big opportunity. I really want to jam with these guys, and I was like, you mind if I have the next 2 days off of work? And he was like, go do what you got to go do. And the next day, I remember, I grabbed my guitar and my amp and loaded up, and I went by myself for 8-hour drive from my house to Philip Anselmo's house,
Oh,
man. And
dude.
I mean, I was jamming like Slayer, Haunting the Chapel, and Rain in Blood, and like old Deicide, like all the way there. I remember I pulled up, and it was like 3 a.m. And he lives out, in the middle of nowhere out there, and he has a lot of land, and it's so amazing out there. It's so peaceful, and it's amazing to be. The whole feeling of being out there is awesome. So I got there at 3 in the morning. It was completely dark. Everybody was asleep, at the house, and Blue let me right on in. And I mean, I was so nervous, like I couldn't believe I was there. I was in the guy's house, and you know, I like they took me upstairs, and me and Blue, we burned a bowl, and he kind of gave me the rundown of what was gonna happen the next day. He kind of told me, hey, this is what's gonna happen, and and pretty much we woke up the next day, and by like noon, I was standing in the hallway, and I just remember feeling this presence standing right behind me. And I turned around, and Phil was like standing right there, gave me a huge hug, man, and just welcomed me with open arms, man. And we were there, and that day I got to watch Superjoint rehearse for their upcoming tour. I sat in and just kind of, we were in the Layer, man, and I couldn't believe I was sitting there with these guys. I grew up on Superjoint, diehard fan, diehard, used to travel around Texas watching the group. So to be able to be there and watch the band rehearse Full Throttle, it's sitting in between Kevin Bond and Blue on drums. I was air drumming everything, just jamming along, man. It was pretty insane. And once they got done, my nervousness really picked up because I knew it was my turn to plug in and jam with Steven and Blue and Philip. So it was pretty nerve wracking, man. Once they got done, I really got nervous because they were like, "All right, man, go ahead and plug up. You know, you're up." So I remember we had about an hour of just jamming, me, Blue, and Steve, and then Philip walked back into the jam room, I mean, I was super nervous, but once we hit that first note, I mean, it was just jam time. It was just like jamming with me and my buddies, man. It was on, and ever since then, man, it's been a great time. We all vibe off each other, and we're all into the same style of just bringing the most extreme tunes, man. So it was really nerve wracking to be there for the first time, but he made it feel right at home, man. And ever since then, I always enjoy going back because we always get a lot of work done, and it's always a fun family time, man. With over at the Housecore compound, man. It's pretty insane, bro. Yes, Kate is an awesome cook. Every time we get done jamming for 8 or 9 hours, we head into the house, and she always has something ready to go for us. Something cooked up on the grill, or something cooked up inside. But there's always food ready to go. And man, us hungry stoner dudes, man, we go in ready to eat, man. And she always hooks it up. So most definitely, Kate is awesome. Yeah, Kate's the best, man. She runs the show, man. Without her, it would probably all fall apart, man. She holds it all together, and she does it very, very well. Man, that's one thing that I realized when I came into the housecore family is just everybody is out to help one another, and everybody's got each other's backs, and everybody's cool with everybody. We all support one another. And that's in the local scene in general, but with the housecore family, totally, man. And everybody's cool with everybody. Everybody supports one another, and we all text each other what's going on, how the kids doing, how's the family doing, and dumb shit, just we always have, definitely a lot of support, within the housecore family, man. Everybody's out to help one another, and it's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, Walter is a good guy. He's a guy that I kind of brought into the table. I remember leaving there last September, and Philip was like, we need a bass player, and he was telling all of us, there's a spot, it's open, we need somebody to come fill it. So it just so happens the next day I got back, and I had a gig with my local death metal band, Flesh Hoarder, and we were playing with Walter's band, Vaginal Bear Trap, VBT, and I had known Walt for like 8 or 9 years already. And as soon as I saw him hit his first note, it just hit me. This is the guy. Walt is the guy. I know him. He's down as fuck. So I approached him after the gig and was like, hey man, I just got back yesterday. We need a new bass player. Would you be interested? And he was the same way, totally down. He was like, man, anything you need from me, I'm here. And then months went by, one thing led to another, and he made it in and nailed it, man. Came in and nailed it, man. Did a great job. That first album, I really, really dig that album. We've been going over it now. We like to play it, as best all the way through. What during rehearsal we'll jam that first CD, and we get through the song, walk through exits only, and we get to the end of the tune, and it's the fucking heaviest thing, man. I can't wait to play these tunes live because now we got two guitar players. We're gonna be bringing it full throttle. It's gonna be heavy, and then these new tunes are a totally different direction even more so than that first disc. We're going for some really dark, evil, fucking insanity, man. I'm hoping once we get the illegals rolling and we get back on tour, for the illegals, we get back on the road. Hopefully we can get out to Pittsburgh, man, and jam for all you cats out that way who are wanting the metal, man, because we are definitely wanting to bring it to you guys. Actually, I had played there a few times with my band MOD. We had rode through New Orleans and hung out with like Sammy from Goat Whore. I remember Pat from Down came out that night, and this was before the illegals and stuff. So I had been through the scene and definitely had made some friends from jamming around with all those guys prior to all that. So it was an awesome, move over from Texas to jamming in the NOLA scene, man. Just kind of knowing, some of the heads already out that way. So I wasn't super new, but it was still, it was still pretty new on a lot of aspects also. Oh, dude, that's funny. That's funny you say that because a couple nights ago, I ran into a buddy of mine who you should really interview also because if you're doing this, you should really hit up my friend Robert Coleman, also known as TA, who plays bass in Goat Whore. Well,
Goat Whore, fuck yeah.
Dude, I'll get you his info after this is all done, man, because I would really like for you to talk to Robert, man. TA's great guy, and he's from the local Texas scene. He's been in quite a few bands, and now he's jamming for Goat Whore. So, I ran into him the other night, and we're talking about our new music, new illegals, and he's telling me about new Goat Whore tunes, and I'm telling him, dude, you should hear this riff. I was like, dude, total Celtic Frost, and he was like, well, you should hear this riff we're doing. It's all Venom, and so I mean, it's definitely there, the friendly competition, and it's totally friendly, man. It's all in good fun, and like I said, we're all just trying to bring our own styles to the table and shit, and but it's definitely there. We're always busting each other's balls and messing with each other and just letting each other know, man. Hey, we're putting out some heavy shit. Yeah, man, I remember when they first announced it, like a year before it was announced, when they were just talking about it, they were just bringing it up. Hey, Philip's bringing this, he's bringing it to Austin. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's like 30 minutes from me, stoked about it. And then I remember them putting up a volunteer thing saying, hey, we're looking for, metalhead volunteers to come work at the House Crow Horror Fest. So the first 2 years I worked it, I remember, being a stagehand, seeing all the cats, and talking to everybody. I remember hanging out with Steven and Jimmy and all the guys. But at the same time, I had to work. I had to break down gear and do all that. And totally awesome. It's always good to, to put the work in, so that was great. I got to see it from that point of view the first 2 years, setting it all up and breaking it down. And it was awesome. The third year, though, last year, I got to hang out and fucking party for 3 days and watch like the best metal bands from across the world bring it, man. And it's all 3 years have been a blast. So many awesome actors and actresses that Phillips brought to town, directors, and you get to mingle with all those folks and just say hello, and everybody's real cool, and and then you got the bands bringing it, on 2 stages, all sorts of good tunes, man. So it's been the Horror Fest, man. To me, have been a fucking total blast all 3 years, man. All right, alive or dead? Who would I like to jam with? Man, I would love to do a tune with Dimebag. I fucking was a huge Dimebag fan. It would be so amazing, and I mean, just to be able to sit on a, sit next to the guy and play some guitar would be it for me right there. That would be cool. Another guy for me would be Stevie Ray Vaughan, blues
Fucking A.
player. Man, that would be really cool to sit back with that cat and and do some stuff. And one more guy I'll say, and that's because Philip just showed me one of these guys' albums because I've been jamming a lot of Queen. But if I could do a tune with Freddie Mercury, that would be another really cool thing to do, man. Because I've been jamming a little bit of Queen lately, and
That's
I think
cool.
I think it'd be really cool to be able to be like, man, write some cool little numbers and have Freddie, put some melody on there. I think that'd be pretty awesome, man. So, Stevie Ray, Dime, and some Mercury, man. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, man, I would have loved to have got to hang out with Dime, man. That was such the day that bullshit happened. Well, it wasn't the day; it was the morning after. I'll never forget it, dude. I was taking my license test, and I think that's honestly why I passed it, dude, because I had failed it. And fucking, I actually had to take it because my shit was being suspended for some dumb shit. And I found out even if I get it when I'm 50, they're gonna suspend it. And I'm like, oh fuck. So I went to go take it, and the driver instructor was like, you can put on a radio station, just keep it low, whatever makes you, And I put on what we don't even have a metal station, but the closest we have up here, and I put it on, and they were fucking talking about it, dude. And I think that's why I passed the fucking test, because I wasn't even paying attention to what the hell I was doing. I was just like, there's no fucking way that happened. And it's just fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, I remember where I was at too. It was the same situation. It was the morning after, and I just remember where I was at, and I won't get too much into it, but I was just saying that I was pretty bummed out, man. It's just like everyone else. It was like your best fucking friend was taken away, and you didn't get to say bye, and
Yeah, man.
it was the most worst feeling, man, and I'll never ever forget the day he actually passed away. Dimebag is actually my job anniversary. So every year when it's December the 8th, I make another year at my job. So I just made 11 years. I'm about to make 12. So on the day every year, it's really bittersweet. I'm doing good at my job, but it's the same day that my one of my guitar heroes was taken away from me, man. So it's always a bittersweet day, bro.
And I just seen that Pantera, their Facebook did a quick thing about that girl that was just murdered down in Florida. That artist, man.
Very
That,
cool of them to do that.
yeah, it's just crazy. I can't believe. Yeah, like you said, we won't get too much into that. It's just fucking nasty that somebody can go do that to a musician, especially somebody like fucking Dime. I mean, I never got to meet the guy, but everything I've ever seen, I'll bring up talk real quick because I read a story and I just couldn't believe it, man. It was I guess Dime was doing a signing at a Guitar Center or something, and a kid came up to him to get him to autograph something and said that my dad just put a guitar on layaway. I'm getting my first guitar, blah blah blah. And Dime's like, you start today. And fucking went and bought the guitar for the kid and then signed it for him, man. Like
Wow.
it was just a beautiful person, man. It's fucking
That's a
crazy.
that's a cool story. I've heard so many of them, and so many awesome stories, man. So many amazing stories of Dime, man. So, it's really really cool, And then growing up, just a diehard Pantera fan. Got to see him a few times, So it's it's huge down here, definitely, and and he was just a huge. I never got to meet him either. I got to meet Vinny. I've met Rex, and definitely jamming with Phil. But Dimebag, I never got to meet, and that's one thing I definitely regret. I've been to his gravesite a few times. They're out in the Arlington area, and it's always real special going out there and spending a few minutes and just kind of talking to him and all. But it'd have been really awesome just to have shook the guy's hand one time. It would have been awesome, man.
That's actually on my bucket list, man. I want to go down and say what's up to his grave site, dude. I'd love to get down there. I'm actually part of a page that's trying to do something about the assholes that are carving their names and shit in there, man. That
Yeah,
pisses me
we
off.
yeah we hate that shit, man. We hate that stuff. Awesome. I told Philip my favorite Pantera when he asked me, what's your favorite one? I told him my favorite one was Great Southern Trendkill, just because it was just a pissed off started, right out of the bat, and just
Fucking A.
I love that CD. I love them all, but I just Great Southern Trendkill just had that fucking Texas twang to it, man. That brought it. I really like that album. Awesome. I appreciate this last minute. First off, let me say thank you for bringing me on, to do Metal Mondays, man. I've Metal Mondays here in the Austin area is a thing. They always do a Metal Monday kind of show, often. So it's cool to
Nice.
do it. It's cool to do a YouTube segment with you, bro, and I appreciate this. Other things I just want to send a shout out to, just all my bands. Disfigured, check us out. Flesh Hoarder, check us out, and definitely be on the lookout for the new Illegals. Hopefully, by year's end it'll be out, and it's gonna be a face ripper of a disc. Check out all the housecore products. All the bands are putting stuff out right now. All the bands are bringing their A game, and just keep it going, man. Keep the metal alive, bro, and hopefully be out to Pittsburgh soon, man. I'm gonna hang out with all you cats out that way, bro.